Hello, I'm Chris Filiaccio, and I'm in the studio here with Kim Elton, the founder and owner of Strut Studios. Kim's been in the business of video PR, video and advertising for over 20 years. And I've got him in the hot seat today to find out just exactly behind the scenes and how Strut Studio works, and most importantly, how much does all this stuff cost? So, Kim, let's get right into it.
All right. So
why would a company want to do a video PR news channel?
Well, we don't get the question, why would I want to do video? The question is how, because everybody knows that video is important now on the internet. They want to use it. They just don't know how to go about it or know if they can afford it. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of statistics and data about how video is more effective, it's more engaging, it's better branding, it's all of these things, and people want to get information that way. So we don't so much sell the idea of, you should be doing video, although we see that they're not. We say, well, you should be doing video, and we'll show you how. So that's really the question is, how do I get into this thing, and how can I manage it and make it effective? And that's what we're all about, and that's what video PR is.
Okay. And so I think what we're talking about here is you've created this so it's kind of like a ready-made blueprint.
Right. You
can come into the studio, everything can be set up for you. Of course, there's a discussion before about what happens. So can you guide us through the step-by-step? So client comes into the studio and...
Okay, well, first of all, the studio itself. We have our own studio.
Yeah.
It's a 2,000 square foot facility with full green screen and all the camera equipment and gear, and it's always set up.
Right.
So what we've done with the video PR program particularly, because we do a lot of other production as well, we bundled it up and packaged it up. I think, a lot of businesses, systems are very important.
Yeah.
So we've developed a way for our clients to have their own video news channel on their website. We call it video PR because news gives you frequency. Everything in marketing should be like telling a story. Yeah. And news is about telling stories. Mm-hmm. And people watch news every day, you get that frequency. One of the most difficult problems in any advertising format is being able to get enough frequency. I can do a television spot, spend millions of dollars and have it play on the Super Bowl, and we get an amazing reach. Of course, it costs us a lot of money. People only see it once. Where the rubber meets the road in marketing and advertising particularly is how many times do they see it, because it takes frequency to get people's attention and draw them in eventually. So we've made it possible to produce your own channel, make it newsworthy, and so that you get the frequency, so you're not just going to do it once, you're going to do it once a month, or at least once every 2 months, and get that news out. Everyone has news about their companies, not just the products and services. There's always a news story behind them.
Especially public companies too, right?
Public companies, we're doing a lot of public companies now, but even companies that have a lot of products, there's news about why they're bringing out these new products. Put things into context. That's what news does as well, right?
Yeah.
What's happening today.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's engaging. So that's an important factor. Mm-hmm. So you were asking about what the experience is all about. We have 3 cameras set up. It's television news style. Yeah. So you'll see the Adrian's in the control room there switching back and forth. So what we've done is we've made it possible to sit down, have a conversation, bring out the important bits of news about your organization, guide that conversation professionally. We have professional broadcasters that will do the interviews. You have your choice of a number of people. I do some of them myself. Right. And when that interview is over, all those 3 cameras, the switching is done. It goes directly into the drive to disk, and it's essentially finished. Right. Because we do all the design and production work ahead of time for the client. We'll talk about that a little bit, and so that's already pre-done, and they have our player, and so when that interview is over, at the end of the day, it's up on your website. Right. And so it's very quick. It's a very quick process, very seamless, easy to do. We powder your nose a little bit.
So there's makeup, there's everything you need here, like it's a one-stop shop.
You walk in, within an hour you'll have that, and it'll look great. Right,
because especially for companies that are public, the CEO or whoever making it usually doesn't have a lot of time. They want to be in here and they want to get out. Okay, well, I've looked into video business before, and lots of companies pay $20,000, $30,000 for video. How much is this, and why is it so affordable? Can you maybe take us through the pricing?
Well, part of the affordability is what I've just explained. So it's a very seamless, quick process. But there are different purposes for videos. I'm not saying you shouldn't spend that $20,000 on that big corporate piece, because that's branding, and if you can afford it, you should probably do it. But the question in marketing is, everybody says how much. Well, The real question is, what's the value of it? What's the return on investment, right? If that $20,000 video nets you $1 million in business, then that was a good investment.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't care if it was a $50,000 video.
Yeah.
And we do those too. But the whole point of getting frequency and the whole news format is you can't afford to spend that every time you have a major announcement. But with our program and with the way we do it, we do this interview style thing. We'll monitor here, we can play some B-roll, show the product, do a little bit of different things that way. You can't pay that kind of money.
No, that's
it doesn't
right.
make sense. The return on investment's not there. But if you can get it down to $400 or $500, which is what we do,
Right.
then that's affordable.
Just say I'm a public company. I'm going to do 4 videos a year for my press releases by law, or I have to do this, and I want to get set up. I want to do something professional. How much?
There are different ways we can work it out. News is very important for these companies. They do press releases. They have to, as you know. And they live, thrive, or die on the news on their company.
Right.
It's not just public companies, but also other larger companies or companies that are in a touchy area from a public perception point of view.
Video
Sometimes
PR.
the news comes out, it's not always good news, it's
Right.
on the local channel. They might interview the CEO or somebody from the company. It doesn't always go well. But if you have your own news channel, at least you can guide the conversation to some degree and get your story out on your website. Because what's the first thing that people do when they hear about a company?
I'll
They
go to the website. Yeah, and
Okay.
check it out. And
Now,
if
you
there's a
may not
video, I
have-
look at the video.
You may not have that glowing interview from the local station.
No,
but you'll have your own story
you
there
don't
as
have
well.
control over that one.
Right. So it's not about manipulating the news, but it's about handling your story. Now, that's for that type of company, but there's also companies that have products that are innovative and new, and that's news as well. And they change them up all the time. So news is a good way of telling a story, and all marketing, all advertising is about storytelling.
Right. Yeah.
And news is engaging. People get up every day and listen to the news.
That's what I do. I go to my email, check my email, and then if there's news that I'm interested in, I go and check it out.
You heard something on the
Absolutely.
radio, and when you got to the office, you went to the internet to get the full story, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's the value of news, and we find that it's just been. I'm really excited about the program because I can see our clients are very excited about it.
Okay. What about guarantees? Say I sign up with you guys and it's not working for me. I don't have enough news. And your subscriptions are usually do a year contract because we want to get
Yeah.
the frequency in there. What happens if it's not working for me? What do I do then?
You can cancel.
Right. So what the first
Okay.
time or like?
Oh well. Here's the thing, and this is the way we've priced it out, so it makes it easy to take and affordable. And we ask you to sign a 12-month subscription.
Yeah. Okay.
There is a cost to do the initial setup, and that can go from like, I'm just looking at the spread here, we can sit down with a client, work it out, from a real basic account setup that gives them the player design, the background, and a few things like that. And it goes from about $690 to about $3,500, depending on how much you want to spend
Right.
on design. Because we have the player, which is your brand and so on. So they all look great. But if you want to spend a little bit more on the branding and that sort of thing up front, it could cost up to $3,500.
Okay.
So that's recovered up front, and that's what makes it possible once that's all set up, because there's a back end of that. Captures inquiries, builds lists, and all
Right.
that sort of thing. You can use it for all your email marketing as well.
Right. Right.
And so once that's set up, that's on a 12-month subscription.
Right.
Okay, but the shows themselves are also on a subscription. So we sit down with a client, we say, well, how many times do you think you'll be doing this? Well, I'm going to be doing it every month. Okay, well, that's 12 times. Okay, or you know what? I'm just going to do a quarterly report or kind of a quarterly wrap up. I'll do this 4 times a year. So we have different package prices for that. So if you're doing it 4 times a year, it's $600 a show. If it's the 6 times a year, which is every 2 months, it works out to $3,000 a year at $500 a pop. So
Right.
the more frequency,
The more you buy,
right.
the cheaper it
And there's certain
becomes, yeah.
discounts on design with those as well. But when we add it all up, we add these packages will range from about $5,500 to $6,000 for the year, up to $20,000 for the year.
Right. Depending on
But you pay the production up front, which would be anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000 or $5,000, $3,500 usually, sort of that thing, or maybe there's some extras in there. Plus, there's some management stuff that we put in there as well. We'll manage these programs for you.
Right.
And we didn't talk about YouTube. That's the question that everybody asks.
Yeah. Well, I was going to get to that.
But just to finish off on this,
Okay.
so your monthly subscription can be anywhere from $300 a month to $1,000, $1,500 a month,
Right.
depending on the size.
But really
That's over
reasonably
12
priced.
months.
If I was a small company, as you said, I could do a whole year for $5,000.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
And
that's
you
good.
pay maybe a third of that up front, and the rest is on a subscription. Now, you were asking about cancellation. If it's not working, we'll help you to improve it, because we're professionals. We know how these things work. We don't know how good your product or company is going to do
Yeah,
on the internet.
it's all subjective.
So we can't guarantee that, but we can guarantee what we deliver. Now, if it's just not working out, you don't want to do it anymore, we just say, you give it 3 months. You'll know by then.
Yeah.
And if it's not working for you,
You need to cancel.
no big deal.
Okay,
Cancel it.
good. That's easy. Now, about YouTube, say for example, if I do some videos and I don't, that would have to go, the players are a pretty big deal, so it needs to be explained somehow. So if you do need some information, fill out the form and then come in here and we'll give you the exact information that you need. But what about YouTube? Talk about YouTube.
So why wouldn't I just do this
Yeah,
on
just
YouTube?
use
Okay.
YouTube.
Well, first of all, you absolutely should use YouTube, and your video should be on YouTube. YouTube is the biggest search engine in the world.
Yep.
It's part of Google.
Yeah.
So our program helps you to do that. So you have to set up a YouTube channel. If you don't have one already, we'll help you do that. If you've got one but it's not very well managed, we'll help you manage it. But the important thing is that when you do your interview, and we do it, once it's ready to go, we load it up to your account. It's also automatically put on your YouTube account.
Okay.
YouTube is absolutely vital to any online video program, and so our program helps you to leverage that. The disadvantage in YouTube is that if you just use YouTube and you embed that player on your website or just create a link for it, if you're just creating a link, you're taking people off your website to go to YouTube.
Right, yes.
Or if it's on your site, and at the end of that, because it's based on on search criteria, it's going to bring up a whole other things that they can watch at the end of that video.
The dancing dogs, the crying babies, everything. Yeah, okay.
So that's the thing. It's not
Right.
your branding. It's
I see.
YouTube's branding, and everybody's driving traffic back to YouTube, which of course they love.
Mm-hmm.
But manage your own player, your own brand, your own image,
So
and
it's
manage
your
that
player, it goes
experience.
on the website, it's there, there's a video library, there's links and a whole bunch of back end. That
Yeah,
they
the
can
player is
work
quite
with you.
interactive. We won't go into that too much. You'll see some of the examples here, but people can request literature. They can sign up for your newsletter. That inquiry is then comes into your organization so that it can be immediately followed up on. So all of the interactivity that you want from your website and online is built into the player.
Right, okay. Well, if you need more information, please come to the website, www.strutstudios.com. Everything you need to know is there. There's a form. Fill it out. Send it in. Somebody will help you. Why don't we end this with a montage of companies that are already working with Strut Studios?
Certainly.
And so right after
We'll bring it up
this,
on the
we'll
player
bring it
here.
up on the player here. And we
I'll
can,
show you some
and
examples of what we're doing, and there's another video here as well. It just talks about the whole news channel.
the entire news.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, Kim.
Thank
Been
you.
a pleasure.
That's
And
great.
See you soon. Thanks.
thank you.